I can't talk about this book without crying. The book I liked because at all, I'm like, as they say, save the best for last. Have a rating for this book. At some point in this video, I'm gonna lean back and this is gonna fall over. But for right now, hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I have opinions, very strong opinions. Before we get into the video, let's get statistical for a second. I read a total of 5 books in March. I read 2 fantasy books, 2 memoirs, and 1 romance book. Let's talk about them. First one I want to talk about is The Upside. This book made me cry. It just felt like an uplifting book. I recently read The Storied Life of AJ Fikry. I'll put it here on the screen. I loved that book. It kind of felt literary fiction in a way. That book made me cry. I gave that book 5 stars. But the reason I'm telling you this is because this book felt very comparable to that one. Not in the story, because the stories are completely different. It's just the way that the book made me feel. And if you guys have been watching my channel and if you know me, you know I don't shut up about The Storied Life of AJ Fikry. So don't expect me to shut up about this book either. I just really like this book because it felt like both the characters were really lost in life, and it was just a story about their friendship and how they both helped each other out tremendously. Moving on, I think we need to give me a round of applause for actually reading a book that's on my TBR. You can hold your applause, really. It's not that big of a deal. I ended up reading The Lost Bookshop by Evie Woods. This book was on my TBR video. Right here. Go watch it. That's such a fun video. I love the way I did that TBR. This book follows Opaline, Martha, and Henry, and basically they're kind of just lost. They don't really appreciate their life. Then they stumble upon a lost bookshop. This book I liked because it just felt like these characters were just like finally discovering that their lives were worth something and that their lives like should be appreciated too and are just every bit as good as the next person's. But I did give this book a 3.5 stars. The reasoning behind that is just simply because I felt like it dragged on a little bit. I feel like this could be condensed a lot. There were some parts that I was just like, I don't care about your storyline as much. I'm a little bit bored by you. So then skim the page. Okay, next book I want to talk about is a memoir. This is called Untamed. I'm not normally a memoir person at all. I normally don't read memoirs because I feel like there's too much real experiences and real thoughts and opinions and beliefs. That it makes it really difficult because I am a very easily influenced person. Let's put it that way. So when someone in a book is telling me this is how you should think, this is how you should feel, it really messes with the way that I am as a person and the way that I do feel and the way that I do think. So this book is actually one of the first memoirs I have ever picked up. I think the main takeaway from this book was just like, this girl is really finding out things about herself that have been locked away for years, and these thoughts that she was having but she suppressed for years because she was in a marriage and she had kids and she had all these other things going on in her life that, you know, she didn't let any thoughts out. I actually don't rate memoirs, so I'm not gonna rate this book. I also just don't think that I could have a rating for this book. Moving on, you should be very proud of me once again because 7 Days in June by Tia William. This book I had DNF'd in February, then in March I got it using the TBR game, and I was really upset because I got the book. I had a lot of opinions about this book, but I think that the reason I DNF'd it the first time was just because I was going through a very massive book slump. This book is a second chance romance. I'm not a big fan of second chance romance, so that was the first throw off about this book the first time, but I ended up actually liking it. This book reads more as a literary fiction than like a romance rom-com. It's definitely not really a rom-com at all. I felt like a lot of things were just like miscommunication that could have been solved, but I get why it wasn't. I don't know. I rated this book a solid 4 stars. As they say, save the best for last. This is Ruthless Vows by Rebecca Ross. I read Divine Rivals last month, gave that a 5 stars. Honestly, Divine Rivals is one of my top fantasy books now. Divine Rivals was set in a way of a rom-com, but it had things like war, grief, love, those kind of things happened in Divine Rivals, but it was set up as a rom-com. So let's talk about Ruthless Vows. This is the second book in the duology. I love all the characters, I liked the storyline, but this book dealt more with the war going on. I felt like Divine Rivals might have been focusing on the war, but I was focused on the romance. So in this book, when there is a little bit less romance and it's a lot about the war, I was confused. I'll admit it, I was a little bit confused. But then you get to the end, and the end made me cry, dealt with grief, and I was like, what the frick? This book is putting me through the ringer. But I really liked the book. I gave it a 4.5 stars. I felt like for majority of the book, I wasn't focused on the war. I was just skimming the pages to get to the romance. I'm just a girl. I'm just a girl, okay? So me skimming the pages for maybe 1 or 2 small chapters is the only reason I took off a 0.5. Okay, so these are all of the books that I read in March. I had a good reading month in terms of type of books that I was reading and ratings, but I didn't have a good reading month in terms of how many books I read. I hope you got some book recommendations from this video. I appreciate you watching. I love you so much. I will see you guys super soon, and better read The Upside. Go read it right now or watch the movie. I don't care. Do one or the other. It's gonna be a roller coaster of emotions and you're gonna thank me for it.